Hey, it's Checkmate. I had 7 days to make a game from scratch about the theme Strange Places. I really enjoy playing games. I also really enjoy the idea of making my own game. I even enjoy starting a new project. What I don't enjoy all the time is actually finishing it where it can actually be played. Enter the Game Jam. This forces a deadline and creates a sort of competition so that I actually get my project done. Because there is this pressure of the deadline, there is also a lot of pressure to learn and to solve problems. If I'm just building a project for fun, I might go a really long time avoiding a tricky problem or procrastinating on an issue. If I only have a week to get the entire thing done, I have to hit the issues head on and learn a lot. Now, you may know this is actually my second game jam that I've been a part of. I think the first game jam went really well, and you can watch a little bit about it here on my channel, but I wanted to do better this time. So the Brackeys Game Jam gives a potential list of themes, which are voted on, but the winning theme is not announced until the day the jam starts. So we really put a lot more work into thinking through the different themes and the possible games that go with it. And ideally, we wanted to create a core mechanic that we would just then alter based on the theme. The game genre that really stood out to us is a sort of top-down movement crafting survival game. And we knew this was ambitious, especially compared to the last game, which was really very menu focused. The reason why I really liked this idea was it would push me to learn player movement, force me to actually learn the camera instead of just relying on the entire game being a menu. So my partner and I set goals that we thought were reasonable and would depend completely on ourselves. So we didn't set the goal to win. We didn't set the goal to be a certain ranking. So our goals in order were to finish a playable game with minimal features in a challenging new genre, to learn new technical skills, so both on my side with the code, like the camera and player movement that I mentioned, but also on the art side with drawing custom tile sets. And our final goal was to get more than 30 ratings in the Game Jam, which is still kind of in our control because the way you get ratings in the Game Jam is to rate other people in the Game Jam and really participate in that way. Compared to our last Game Jam, this one was more ambitious, and we knew that, but we did try to scope it down as small as possible. In hindsight, it was still incredibly ambitious and we didn't even know. We talked about there being 3 unique areas with unique items that you would use to craft, a game loop where the player would go out, grab materials, and then craft them into cool stuff, come back to like the base and craft that into like quests and things like that. We did say no enemies. We tried to scope that down to keep things reasonable. But we did say we're going to have some survival elements, including like a day-night cycle so you can't stay out too late, and also hunger. So you'd have a hunger bar that would slowly limit, and that would be kind of the survival aspect of it. As you'll see, this scope was unreasonable for 2 people over the span of a week. But here's how that went.
Test. This is the result of day 1 of the Game Jam. Bit of a main menu here with some buttons. We've got our game scene, which we're using tile maps. I've got a simple tile map of stuff here. In addition to that, we've got movement and camera action objects started that are going to populate on this map. Player who will walk around. Options button that does stuff. Quit button that quits. Play. Move our person around, and when we get close to it, it can't walk on the water. So that's all running. We didn't quite get as much as we wanted done on day 1. Hope you enjoy the dev art right now. Hey, it's Checkmate, and this is pretty much the end of day 2 for the Game Jam. Made some more progress. We've done some menus, actually. Inventory menu that I'm pretty sure is new since the last update. The inventory menu, and then the inventory menu is going to be displayed up these squares, which can, right now they change color when they're selected. They hold kind of a dictionary back to the inventory, which is also new. So the player has an inventory now. Here's our square. So we have a bit more of a demo. We spawned some more sticks in. Now when you hit E, those actually inventory button, you can now see those 3 are in your inventory. You have 4, and then if your inventory gets a little too full, you can discard 1. Still a little buggy. Artwork is still being worked on. I would say we're pretty much on track. Okay, very, very quick update here, because I'm tired. We have things spiraled out of control. Here's our crafting tree that we're working on that we'll implement later. And then this is another crafting tree specifically for a player upgrade that we'll implement later as well. For inventory, I've started work on the crafting menu. I fiddled around a little more with some of the spawning. So the bench shows the crafting menu. And then I need to wrote in a lot more checks and unlocks and that type of thing, because right now you can running a little behind, and we're gonna have to work pretty hard to catch back up. Where are we? What is it? Day 4, day 5. It kind of runs together. I think this is the beginning of day 5. We're running behind, so you have a couple problems with the tile set. So we're going to have to redo a little bit of work on that, but it does exist. We have levels that we're starting on, assets that we're working on implementing, but you can walk around, pick up your items. Here we have this recipe is not unlocked yet, so wood still not unlocked yet. Pick up bone, know the recipe, we're able to craft the recipe. I have a crunch list we can work on today. Got back up. A lot of our stuff is in the game as an object that doesn't really work right now, but we built a lot of stuff. We've implemented some of the art. We did some work with the tile set. Tile set is pretty difficult, actually. We'll continue to do some work. We've implemented walking animations and walk up here. Implemented cave. Future, we will create this to be a tutorial that teaches crafting and the hunger system. Get your quest item. Need a new inventory system for this cave. Oh, and we do have a pause menu that lets us game over. Has buttons. The main next thing that we're going to need is inventory, actual level, everything else.
So after about day 5, things really start to run together for me. By that time, we are mostly through the amount of time in the jam. We've made a lot of good progress, in my opinion. We put a lot of work into it. We spent a lot of time already. We were feeling a little low on sleep. I think that the 2 main issues at this point that we faced but didn't even really know was that the full game loop was still not created. So there were a lot of mechanics and a lot of features that were built, but the ability to actually go in there and play through a minimal run just didn't exist yet. At the same time, we had a lot of design that had kind of taken place. The technical side of the art, implementing the tile sets, actually did not come at this point either. And this is where the amount of sleep that I got declined drastically. I really started organizing things into crunch lists. I knew this would happen, and we'd have to start just working completely overtime to get this thing done. I didn't realize to what extent though. By day 4, I'd really hoped to have basically like some basic level design out there and the core loop implemented. That hadn't happened yet. I thought day 5 could be all about sound and kind of polishing up the art. Day 6 would be playtesting. And then the last day we could dedicate to bug fixing. That's not how it turned out, guys. So day 5, we were still working through the tile set. And this was just something that was really tricky. We actually went back to the basics, like stripped down a 3x3 grid and drew out the borders, and so that you could line up the edges so that way the tiles would actually connect. And in theory, it sounds easy. The tile sets were really made with pixel art in mind, because then everything's measured in those exact squares and you can make them line up and it's fine. When you're working with more of a hand-drawn art, that's not necessarily something that lends itself super well to being exact, when you draw a piece of it over here and another piece over here. The actual cave system it would have every type of crafting and upgrade station, and it would have the quest item. That didn't happen until about the end of day 5. And even then, we didn't actually have the game loop at that point. I think on day 4 it was when we created crafting tree. Maybe a dozen items, and then probably a couple dozen recipes, maybe 20 or so. The amount of work that takes on the art side was pretty substantial as well. When they're a list on a page, doesn't look so much. When you have to draw every single sprite, suddenly that takes a really long time. Every one of those has to have a little bit of unique definition in the code too. So that took a little longer than I thought as well. The scope for a week for 2 people is massive, especially because we were doing everything from scratch. Just to put it in perspective, Biscuit Battler, our last game, it had probably 30 sprites and maybe half a dozen scenes, and about that many scripts, maybe a little more. This game had 3 times, 4 times that many sprites, even more, and more animations too. Just the running animation for the fox in the 4 different directions. That by itself, more sprites than Biscuit Battler had. Day 5, we got that. I think it was day 6 maybe that we actually got that running animation implemented. Day 6, crunch list. It was actually a lot smaller. We hadn't done any audio whatsoever. Any sound effects, we didn't even know exactly what needed sound effects. So we did some brainstorming on the art that was needed, the audio that was needed. But day 6, I did the music. I spent like an hour, just did the main theme in like an hour, mixed it, tried to make it sound good. It actually turned out really good. I'm really pleased with it. And then day 7 was the crunch list is just basically everything. And that's what it felt like. No matter how much progress we had made, there was so much stuff left to do on day 7. Definitely ate food, took breaks, all that type of thing. But that was like 24 hours of solid work getting this game done. That was ridiculous. The last day was the first day that we had playtests. And it wasn't me playtesting. We had a couple friends who were willing to do it and give some feedback, report some bugs. Like the custom UI, like the texture buttons and the backgrounds, those were not implemented. We didn't get the new tile set implemented until the very end. There was the idea of like different layers to the world map. So we had like the ground and the walls all laid out for the level design. And then we added like stickers. That was like 10 minutes before we submitted. Just went over the map and placed down stickers where they were. Food was implemented like 2 hours before. And then I battled this. It loads for like 2 seconds. 1 or 2 seconds between the worlds, but that feels like a lot when, everything freezes up. So I tried to implement a loading screen. That didn't quite work with the way I was loading literally everything about the level, and I broke everything for a couple hours, actually. There was a lot of stuff we hadn't finished yet. There was a lot of stuff on the nice to haves. The tutorial was on the nice to haves. I'm still kicking myself over just not doing it. That should have been like day 2. Like day 1 in the future should be like game loop is done. You did the game loop instead of that being like day 7. And the tutorial is day 2. But the tutorial got cut. I didn't feel like launching into it after the whole fiasco with the loading screen. And there's still actually a little bit of a glitch on the web version where the music kind of glitches out because of the way things are loading. It's only on the web version, and I'm going to fix that later. Rusty's Shadow, we added that right at the very end. There's a little sparkle animation on the items that you can pick up. Added that right at the very end. The victory screen, that was like right at the end too. So in terms of the goals, we did complete the game, and we did it in a week. We learned a lot, so we met that goal, learned a lot. And then I'm happy to say that we did surpass the 30 ratings. A lot more people than we were expecting took the time to play. Overall, it was a lot of fun. I hope to do another jam again, even though it's a massive amount of time and really tiring. If you would like to play, you can play it in the web browser. It is, of course, free. I'll put a link to it in the description, and I hope that you take a little bit of time to try it out. Leave a comment if you would. Let me know what you liked. If this has inspired you to do some game dev of your own, then great. I'm gonna go take a nap now.